Hello everyone. Our today's concept is RBF network design and training. What it is? It is about RBF network design and training. Okay. So first of all, we would see the architecture of RBF network. RBF network is one of the artificial neural network with three layers. Those are input layer and hidden layer, finally output layer. Okay, this RBF network is also called as a two-layer network. Why? Because the input layer is a not considered. Only here we have taken hidden layer and output layer into consideration because at these two layers only we are going to perform any kind of computations, right? But input at the input layer we didn't perform any kind of computations. Just it is used to supply the input to the hidden layer. That's it. That's why it is a two-layer network. It is a two-layer network, and this RBF network has only one hidden layer. Okay. RBF network has only one hidden layer. So unlike multi-layer perceptron, in multi-layer perceptron we have multiple number of hidden layer we can use in that network, but here only you can use one hidden layer, right? So the input layer, hidden layer and output layer. The hidden layer of RBF consists of hidden neurons. So the hidden layer of RBF network consists of hidden neurons. So hidden neurons. Each and every hidden neuron has a activation function. That activation function here we have used a Gaussian function at with the each unit of hidden layer. Okay, or each hidden neuron we can use a function, activation function called the Gaussian function here, right? Hidden layer generates a signal corresponding to an input vector in the input layer, and it produces the corresponding signal to the output layer. Output layer in this network, output layer has only one node or one neuron here. Okay. So the output of hidden neurons are the nonlinear function. Those nonlinear function can be calculated by using the bias value as well as with the corresponding weights. Then at the output layer, at the output node, it would be converted as a linear function. Linear function. The output of the output neuron is a linear function, right? So what is this output one f of x? F of x, the output of f of x would produce a linear function here, right? This is about general information about architecture of RBF network, and now we are going to see the design and training of RBF network. First of all, we would see what is the Gaussian function formulas. Here we have taken three kinds of formulas for formulas as Gaussian function. Okay, Gaussian function means it is a activation function in hidden layer neuron. Okay, hidden layer unit. At each unit of hidden layer, okay, you can be calculated Gaussian functions. That Gaussian function is represented as phi of x. Okay, RBF activation function of an hidden neuron is phi of x. That is for an input vector x. Output produced by the hidden neuron will be phi of x, right? So this phi of x is a Gaussian activation function which can be selected from any of the formulas. One is phi of x equal to expo e to the power of minus norms of x minus c whole square or it may be phi of x equal to e to the power of minus norms of x minus c whole square by 2r square, or it may be phi of x equal to 1 by root of r square x square plus c square. Okay, these are the three formulas which can be substituted in the place of Gaussian functions. Any one of these we can be used, right? And coming to the here, that is the phi of x is a activation function or output of a RBF neuron, right? I mean, not what hidden layer neuron. Now, what is the f of x? What is the f of x here? F of x, maybe this is the output of the RBF network. Output of the RBF network is equal to f of x equal to sigma I equal j equal to 1 to n into wj, okay, weight vector into phi j of x, phi j of x. This is the actual output of the above RBF network. The training of the designing and the training of RBF network is how to get this f of x, how to get this f of x, okay, through that particular network. Assessment of the output of the network, how it would be reached up to output layer. What is the input layer? Okay, functioning of input layer, and what is the hidden layer, functioning of hidden layer, and also the output layer neuron. So each and every step would be considered as designing of RBF network, okay, as well as the steps or the parameters which we have taken, okay, within that network is called the training of that network here, right? And also the training process of RBF network is based on two steps. Okay, you can say like that the training or the learning process of the RBF network is based on two steps. How it would learn or how it would train. Okay, how it would train in the sense, first of all, at hidden neurons, each and every hidden neuron is there, right? So at each and every hidden neuron, we should find out the center point or centroid, centroid. And second one is calculation of weight vector, okay. So by adjusting these two things, the results would be based on these two things itself. So by adjusting these two, we can get many kind of results, isn't it? So these two are the important parameters of a training of the RBF network. Right. Coming to first one, finding center points or centroids of a cluster. For that, this is a step one. Okay, finding the unit center. Each neuron of a hidden layer we may call as unit. Okay, unit is also called as a neuron of a hidden layer, right? So now the first step is finding the center of a unit or centroid of a unit C. Okay, C is the one of the parameter here, right? So for this, for finding a centroid of a given unit, we have many clustering algorithms are there to find a centroid. Okay, in real time, we have many kind of clustering algorithms are there to find the center of a given cluster or centroid of a given cluster. Out of them, here we have used a k-means clustering algorithm. Right now in RBF network, okay, we are using k-means clustering algorithm to find the center of a unit. C, right? So what is the steps of? It is one of the most preferable algorithm in real time. K-means algorithm is one of the most preferable algorithm with a few advantages and disadvantages, right? So what are the algorithm steps? K-means algorithm steps to find out a center point or centroid of a unit. So first of all, as we all know that, okay, in k-means clustering, initially the centroids are assigned randomly. Okay, initially in k-means algorithm, the centroids are assigned randomly. Okay, and coming to second point, after selecting the centroids, after selecting the center points, then assign each and every training pattern to that nearest cluster by calculating the Euclidean distance between the pattern and the center. Here we can use a one measurement. That measurement is called Euclidean distance. Why we have used this Euclidean distance? This by using this Euclidean distance measurement, we can find out the distance between the center point and the nearest data point. Okay, so this is near or this is near to this center point. Okay, first one, it is going to we are going to assign the data point to this cluster, okay, by calculating the distance. If it is a less distance one, then it would be assigned to this cluster than this, right? Okay, it is very, this data point is very near to this cluster, right? So that's then this data point. So that's why first of all, after calculating the distance between the center point and the pattern, you may call it a pattern or it's a data point, right? Data pattern also. So it is near to this particular center point, right? So first of all, we have assigned this pattern to this cluster, like that, assigning of each and every training pattern to the nearest clusters by calculating the Euclidean distance between the pattern and the center point. Okay, this is the second step. Coming to third step, when all the training patterns are assigned to their clusters, calculate the average position for each cluster center. Okay. After assigning all points to the randomly selected center points, then now we need to think about the centroids. Whether we would continue with that old centroids or now we need to change the center point of that cluster or not. That is the third point meaning. Okay, when all the training patterns are assigned to their clusters, calculate the average position for each cluster center point. So if after finding the average, if it is not suitable, better we would go for changing of a cluster, which value is near to the average, calculated average. Okay, now we can make that particular point as a centroid to that cluster, right? Which means changing of the cluster for each and every iteration, not only one time. We would do this process number of times. Okay, for each and every cluster, we need to rethink about a centroid. Why? Because centroid is chosen randomly in first step. It may be suitable to that particular cluster or it may not. So if it is not suited for that cluster, what we would do there? Which kind of steps we should take at that time? Those are the changing of a cluster, changing of a cluster centroid by calculating the average positions by taking the all the points within the cluster and what is the average of that particular points, then which value is near to that average, we can make that particular point as a pattern as a centroid again. Okay, that is about third step. And coming to the fourth step, repeat these above two steps until the cluster centroids do not change during the subsequent iterations. What we have to do? We have to repeat the above second step and third step. Repeat the second and third steps until the cluster centers do not change during subsequent iterations. Okay, this is the identification of centroids in RBF networks. This is the one of the training step of a RBF network. Okay, by identifying the center point of each and every neuron or unit of a hidden layer here. Okay, if we did this properly, then one kind of training is finished. What about the next one? What about the second one? Let us move to the second one now. So coming to the second step of training is, it's a finding the weight vector, W. This is the second step. This finding of weight vector W. Okay. After calculating the interpolation matrix, so interpolation matrix is represented by phi equal to, okay, phi Ij. This is the calculation of interpolation matrix formula, and the weight vector W can be calculated as by using this interpolation matrix. How it would be means, if the interpolation matrix is a square matrix, which means the phi matrix is a square matrix, then we may use this formula. Okay, this formula to calculate the weight. Okay, to calculate the weight of a network, which means W equal to phi inverse into desired response. Phi inverse into desired response. Okay, this equation is used if the phi is a square matrix as per the interpolation equation, interpolation concept. Okay. As we have discussed this interpolation concept in earlier sessions. Okay, just once go through that sessions. Okay, if you have any kind of confusion regarding this interpolation matrix, right? And coming to the second one, if your phi is not a square matrix, then you would be take, you would be calculate the W like this, which means weight vector like this. Weight vector W equal to 5 transpose into 5 whole to the power of inverse into 5 transpose into desired response D. Okay, like by this we can finding the weight vector. So our training of the RBF network depends upon, okay, two parameters. One is W, second one is C, centroid. Second one is C. Okay, this is your RBF network design and training concept. Thank you.